Chances are you probably went to a fine dining restaurant and noticed something very different about the chicken you ordered. It was likely the best chicken you ever had. Tender, juicy, and maybe even slightly pink at the center. Surely there must be something wrong, right? The chicken's undercooked. But the restaurant assured you that there was nothing wrong with the chicken and it was perfectly safe to eat. So you did. And it was delicious. And guess what? You didn't get sick. Did you roll the dice and beat the odds? Not necessarily. Food safety is never just about temperature, and it should always be measured in respect to both temperature and time. You can absolutely enjoy juicy meats cooked below the USDA food safety guidance, like this chicken, if you follow both parameters. And I know of 2 ways to safely cook meat below the guidance at home as painless as possible. Sous vide and this little thermometer here, made by Combustion Inc, utilizing their FoodSafe technology. In order to understand why, we first need to take a look at the life of bacteria. And generally speaking, bacteria will react to temperature environments the same way that humans would. When things are cold, life is very slow and boring. The DJ is not playing any songs and no one's dancing on the dance floor. But if you increase that temperature, well, now things get active again. Life is good. And the DJ's playing all your favorite hits. Continue to increase the temperature, and life slows down again, but becomes very uncomfortable. And that's where things get interesting.
At 165 degrees Fahrenheit, it's instant swift death for bacteria, as it would be for us. The environment simply is unlivable for the bacteria population, and it's the safety net guideline for food safety standards for those obvious reasons. It's easy to understand and monitor. Just nuke everything to 165 degrees Fahrenheit and you're safe.
But it doesn't have to be. Even as low as 130 degrees Fahrenheit. By the way, I'm not making these numbers up. They come from the Food Code standard. Life is tough and very harmful. Death comes slowly, and bacteria is destroyed as they're being killed off, eventually succumbing to both temperature and time.
So let's talk about why the food safety guidelines are what they are. We need to take a closer look. The USDA Food Guidance is a thick, detailed book which has everything you need to know about log reduction and the concept of safe cooking at lower temperatures but for longer durations of time. Let's look at the USDA temperature tables that most people are often familiar with. And it's easy to see why, especially with non-poultry, for example, like a steak, those guidelines are ignored. The USDA recommended temperature table is a very oversimplified version of their scientific guidance. If we hold the internal temperature of our meats for a longer duration of time, it's as effective at killing harmful bacteria as it is at hotter, simplified temperatures posted on those tables. So how long and at what temperature, you say? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's actually all spelled out by the USDA. It was just previously so complicated, and it was only reserved for those who dared to try it, and it wasn't really necessarily shown to the general public because, well, it's so complex. You need a way to reliably track time at specific temperatures to make them practical. For example, at 150 degrees Fahrenheit for just 5 minutes, it's virtually as effective at killing bacteria as reaching 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Either method will kill at least 99.9999% of Salmonella bacteria. But how, you say? In order to understand the chart, we need to understand log reduction. Food safety experts always start with the worst case scenario. For chicken, 10 million Salmonella bacteria need to be destroyed. It's not necessarily always about killing every single individual bacterium, but rather reducing the overall population. At a given temperature,
an individual bacteria will either live or die. But for the population of bacteria at log 1, we can say that 90% will die on average. This effectively reduces that 10 million number to just 1 million. Hold for that same time again, and now we have reached a log 2 reduction, and 99% of the population on average will die, with that 1 million now being 100,000, and so on. At log reduction of 5, we have 99.999% confidence. And at log reduction of 7, that takes us even further to 99.99999. Let's look at a chart directly from the 2022 FDA Food Code that most county health departments in the US adhere to. At 150 degrees Fahrenheit, we can reach a log 5 reduction in just 52 seconds for most meats. But what about a log 7 reduction in poultry? Depending on the fat content, that could take up to 4.2 minutes, and neither of these charts are accounting for the food to warm up or carryover cooking from resting. If you're interested in researching yourself, check out the 2022 FDA Food Code Cooking Guidelines for Meat and Poultry Products. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. Combustion Inc also has a wonderful graph illustrating this entire concept for your reference, but we'll circle back to them in just a bit. So why the oversimplification? Well, chefs, they answer to local health departments, and mass food producers, they face even stricter regulations. Mistakes have happened in the past, and they were deadly. Oftentimes, it's the very young, the old, the compromised, the vulnerable that pay the consequences. Generally speaking, the more people you cook for, the higher the stakes. But in your own house, you are your own boss, and you can choose to cook your food to whatever internal temperature you desire, and you can do so safely. I have a video on general food guidance. Think of it as an introduction to food guidance. I'll link it in the description of this video if you want to find out more.
So how do we turn all this theory into practice? Here's 2 methods I'm most comfortable using at home. The first being sous vide. Sous vide cooks your food in a temperature-controlled water bath using a heating circulator. The internal temperatures of the food can never exceed the ambient cooking temperatures of the water. The temperatures also can be held precisely for however long you wish to kill the bacteria. Here's the thing though, and the downsides to sous vide. Not only do you have to brown the meats after, and you should always finish off your meats cooked with sous vide by searing them, it's also relatively slow when compared to other cooking traditional methods, like your stovetop, grill, or oven. Because the cooking temperatures is what the desired internal temperatures would be, and ultimately so low compared to a grill, for example, it takes much longer to reach that time internally. Think of it as gentle cooking. For example, where a 1.5 inch cut steak or so may take you 15 to 20 minutes total using the reverse sear method on a grill, with sous vide, it's more like an hour and a half. The general rule of thumb is 30 minutes for every 1/2 inch thickness of cooking time.
Not to mention, you still have to finish your meats by searing it. Also, you'd be wrong to assume that sous vide will instantly allow you to eat food at lower temperatures just because of its technology. Remember, that water temperature will cook the food from outside in. Heat flows from hot to cold, so the internal temperature is still raw, and bacteria is still thriving until that internal temperature changes. This also means you'll have to hold the internal temperature longer with sous vide to ensure that the proper amount of time has happened for heat transfer. This is commonly seen on the recommended cooking guidance on most sous vide apps. There's no question, however, that sous vide will result in convenient edge-to-edge perfection throughout. It definitely has a place in my kitchen.
The second item I trust is this guy, the Predictive Thermometer made by Combustion Inc with Safe Cook technology. The Predictive Thermometer takes care of everything for us, bookkeeping all of the guidance and tables in the app, letting you know when your food is safe to eat at a log 7 reduction. This little status dial in the app starts the timer after the internal temperature hits 136 degrees Fahrenheit. Simply select Safe Cook, choose your meat, and please note, ground meat has a different module, so make sure you select carefully. And just cook your food as you normally would. Safe Cook will start after that internal temperature hits 136 degrees Fahrenheit and will let you know when your meat's safe to eat. You can always stop the cooking process after your desired internal temperature doneness. And a huge benefit to the predictive thermometer versus sous vide is time. It's much faster to cook food in comparison to sous vide because you can choose your favorite cooking method. Like here at the grill. Or here at the stove, or even here at your oven. There is no other wireless thermometer system on the market today that I'm aware of that offers this technology. And the best part is, it goes straight into your pocket, so you can take it anywhere with you. I don't know of any other convenient way of tracking safe temperatures to achieve your true desired internal temp outside of the food safety oversimplification temperatures besides these two methods here. Sure, I can probe my food using a instant read thermometer meticulously and bookkeep the time and temperature myself. But these two methods are so much more easier and they handle all the guesswork for me. So, can you absolutely enjoy that perfectly cooked pink juicy chicken or that Pittsburgh blue steak that you've been eyeing and had at your favorite restaurant safely at home? Absolutely, you can. And now you know why and how. Is there still a risk of foodborne illness? Sure. We're always taking calculated risks every single day of our lives, and some risks are greater than others. But I like to be well informed and confident in any risk presented to me. And we need to make that individual judgment for ourselves and feel comfortable about it. And I completely recognize that. Personally, even though I know chicken cooked as low as 140 degrees Fahrenheit is perfectly safe cooked using the food safety guidance we just talked about, I just don't like the texture of chicken cooked lower than 145 degrees Fahrenheit. But at 145 degrees Fahrenheit, it's delicious. And at log 7 reduction, I am comfortable with the risk and I feel safe. One more thing, if you found this video helpful, please consider supporting me by subscribing and joining the channel memberships. I would really appreciate it. I'll catch you guys on the next video.